Hello again. There is something of a tradition in Britain for seizing upon some murderous gangster and making him out to have been an essentially decent fellow who was kind to his mother and has been hard done by an uncaring society. One remembers with pleasure the campaign to free George Davis in the 1970s on the grounds that he had been framed by the police and sent to prison for an armed robbery which he had not committed. After a lengthy campaign in which he was portrayed as an innocent victim of corrupt police, he was freed from prison in 1976. The following year, he was of course caught red-handed during another armed robbery in which shots were fired. The Cray brothers were also said to be nice men really, who were good to the neighbours and only ever hurt other gangsters, and they loved their mum as well. I've been remembering these cases while reading about the latest information released relating to Chris Kaba, the young man who was shot dead by the police in September. I wonder if everybody remembers what was said about him by his family and friends immediately after his death. In the description to this video, I give a link to a piece published a few days after he died. Allow me to quote from it. Mr. Kaba's fiancée, Karima Waite, who is pregnant with his child, said he was a very kind, loving and caring young man. He would do anything for anyone to help them if they were in need. He was funny and ambitious. He got an apprenticeship with a construction firm and was looking forward to being a father. He was so focused on building a positive future for his child on the way. Waite's mother, Kim Allain, 49, told the media on Tuesday at the scene of the shooting that Mr. Kaba was so loved. She said he was funny, he was super kind, he was always happy, he'd do anything for you. Kind, caring, loving, funny, super kind, do anything for you. Golly, what a guy. It comes, therefore, as something of a surprise to learn that in April this year, a few months before his death, Kaba was served with a 28-day domestic violence protection order relating to that mother of his unborn child, barring him from entering the street where she lived or even contacting her on social media. The woman concerned and her mother knew about this, of course, and were aware that he was a dangerous thug. So why did they describe him in such glowing terms once he was dead? Presumably in order to blackguard the police. The same motivation, I expect, inspired others to claim that he was an apprentice architect. In January 2019, he was sent to prison for 4 years for a firearms offence, released on licence in 2020, and then in August sent back to prison after having been caught with a knife while driving without insurance. He was finally released last year. When he found time to sign up to be an architect is anybody's guess. At the time of his death, he was about to be arrested for conspiracy to murder following the shooting of a young man at a nightclub in Hackney on August the 30th, a few days before he died. 4 men have appeared in court charged with conspiracy to murder, and it's the case of the prosecution that Chris Kaba helped plan the murder. All in all, the attempt to paint this particular young hoodlum as a misunderstood man who was living a blameless and law-abiding life seems to be unravelling in no small measure. In the description to this video, I give links to news items giving details about all this. Of course, as I said earlier, this sort of nonsense is something of a tradition in this country, and I don't really blame those associated with the man for trying to persuade everybody that he was an apprentice architect rather than a dangerous gangster.